I lived in a small town. The town was quiet. It was peaceful. I had a sister. Her name was Jolene. Jolene was very beautiful. She was the prom queen at school. Everyone loved her. Everyone wanted to be near her. I was different. I was quiet. I watched people. I took care of things. I took care of Jolene. I took care of our parents. I took care of our house. Bernie lived next door. He was a good boy. He was kind. He was honest. He always helped people. Bernie loved Jolene. He loved her since we were children. I saw it in his eyes. Everyone saw it. Jolene knew it too. I loved Bernie. I loved him for many years. But I never told him. I never told anyone. Bernie only saw Jolene. He did not see me, so I kept my love inside. It was my secret. It hurt sometimes, but I said nothing. Jolene and Bernie were always together. They sat on our front porch. They talked. They laughed. I heard them from inside the house. Their voices were happy. The sound made me smile. The sound also made me sad. On sunny afternoons, I made tea. I carried it outside. I gave them the cups. Jolene smiled at me. Bernie said thank you. Then I went back inside. I watched them from the kitchen window. They did not see me there. Jolene wore pretty dresses. Her hair was long and golden. She laughed a lot. Bernie looked at her like she was special, like she was the only girl in the world. I understood. Jolene was special. She was bright. She was full of life. I wore simple clothes. My hair was plain. I did not laugh as much. I was not like Jolene. I was the sister who stayed in the background. I was the sister who made dinner. I was the sister who cleaned the house. I was the sister who no one really noticed. But I did not mind. I loved Jolene. She was my sister. I wanted her to be happy. Bernie made her happy. So I was happy for them. Even when my heart hurt. Even when I wanted Bernie to look at me the same way. Sometimes I sat with them. Jolene asked me to stay. I sat on the steps. They sat on the chairs. Bernie told stories. Jolene laughed. I listened. I smiled. Then I said I had work to do. I went inside again. At night, I lay in my bed. I heard Jolene in her room. She sang sometimes. She was happy. I was glad. But I also felt empty. I loved a boy who did not love me. I loved a boy who loved my sister. The years went by. We grew up. Bernie still came every day. He still sat with Jolene. He still looked at her with love. I still brought them tea. I still watched from the window. Nothing changed. I knew my place. I was Fidelia. I was the quiet one. I was the one who took care of things. Jolene was the one who shined. Bernie was the one who loved her. And I was the one who loved him in silence. This was my life. This was how things were. I accepted it. I had no other choice. Jolene was sick. She was born with a bad heart. The doctors told us when she was young. They said she would not live long. They said she would die before 30, maybe at 25, maybe earlier. Our mother cried a lot. Our father became very quiet. I did not understand at first. I was too young. But I learned that my sister would leave us one day. This was why Jolene lived fast. She did everything quickly. She wanted to feel everything. She wanted to see everything. She was afraid. She was afraid of time. Time was her enemy. Bernie did not know at first. Jolene did not tell him. She was afraid he would leave. She was afraid he would pity her. But one day she told him. She had to. They were in love. She could not hide it forever, Bernie cried. I saw him on the porch. His face was wet. Jolene held his hand. She said it was okay. But it was not okay. Nothing was okay. Bernie stayed. He did not leave. He loved her more. He said he wanted every day with her, every hour, every minute. Jolene said yes. But I saw the pain in her eyes. At night, Jolene came to my room. She sat on my bed. She was afraid. She said Bernie deserved better. She said Bernie deserved a future, a real future, with a wife who would not die young, with children, with a long life together. I held her hand. I told her Bernie loved her. I told her love was important, more important than time. She cried. I cried too, but Jolene felt guilty. I knew this. She told me many times. She said she was selfish. She said she was taking Bernie's best years, years he could spend with someone else, someone healthy, someone who would stay. One night it rained hard. The rain hit our windows. It was loud. It was dark outside. Jolene called me. Her voice was weak. I ran to her room. She was in bed. Her face was pale. Her hands were cold. I sat next to her. I was scared. I thought this was the end. I thought she would die that night. Jolene held my hand. She held it very tight. She looked at me. Her eyes were sad. Her eyes were also serious. She said my name, Fidelia. I said yes. I waited. My heart beat fast. She stopped. She took a breath. Please take care of Bernie for me. I did not speak. I could not speak. He gets lonely easily, she said. He does not know how to look after himself. My throat hurt. My chest hurt. I wanted to say no. I wanted to run away, but I could not. She was my sister. She was dying. Promise me, she said. Her voice was very quiet. Promise me, Fidelia. I promise, I said. The words came out. I did not want to say them, but I said them. Jolene smiled. She closed her eyes. She looked peaceful. She let go of my hand. She fell asleep. I sat there for a long time. I looked at her. I thought about Bernie. I thought about my promise. My love for Bernie was still there. It was always there. But now it was different. Now it was a duty. A heavy duty. I loved Bernie because I wanted to. Now I would take care of Bernie because I promised. Because Jolene asked me. Because it was my job. My responsibility. My heart broke that night. It broke into small pieces. I cried in my room. I cried until morning came, but I did not break my promise. I would never break it. This was my fate. This was my life now. Jolene turned 25 in April. We planned a birthday party. We bought a cake. We hung decorations. Bernie brought flowers, white roses. They were Jolene's favorites. The morning was beautiful. The sun was bright. Birds sang outside. Jolene woke up early. She wore a yellow dress. She looked happy. She looked tired too, but she smiled. We ate breakfast together. Our parents were there. Bernie was there. We laughed. We talked. Jolene opened her gifts. She thanked everyone. She hugged Bernie. She hugged me. Then she went upstairs. She said she needed to rest, just for an hour. Then we would cut the cake. We said okay. We waited downstairs. An hour passed. Jolene did not come down. I went to check on her. I knocked on her door. She did not answer. I opened the door. I walked inside. Jolene was on her bed. She looked peaceful. She looked like she was sleeping. But she was not sleeping. She was gone. I screamed. Our mother ran upstairs. Our father called the doctor. Bernie stood in the doorway. His face was white. He could not move. He could not speak. The doctor came. He checked Jolene. He shook his head. He said she died in her sleep. Her heart stopped. It was quick. She did not suffer. We cried. We cried for hours. We cried for days. The birthday party became a funeral. The cake stayed in the kitchen. No one ate it. The white roses died in their vase. Bernie broke that day. He completely broke. He stopped going to work. He stopped eating. He locked himself in his house. He closed all the curtains. He sat in the dark. I remembered my promise. I had to take care of him. So I went to his house every day. I knocked on his door. Sometimes he opened it. Sometimes he did not. When he did not answer, I used the spare key. The key Jolene gave me years ago. His house was a mess. Clothes were on the floor. Dishes were in the sink. The air smelled bad. Bernie sat on the couch. He held photos of Jolene. He stared at them. He did not look at me. I cleaned his house. I picked up the clothes. I washed the dishes. I opened the windows. Fresh air came inside. Bernie did not notice. He kept looking at the photos. I cooked food for him. I made soup. I made pasta. I made chicken. These were the meals Bernie liked. They were also the meals Jolene liked. Jolene taught me how to cook them. She said Bernie loved them. I put the food in front of Bernie. I said he should eat. Sometimes he ate a little. Sometimes he did not eat at all. I sat with him. I waited. I did not leave. Bernie cried a lot. He cried at night. He cried in the morning. He cried all the time. I listened. I did not say much. What could I say? Words did not help. Nothing helped. Weeks passed. Then months. I came every day. I cooked. I cleaned. I sat with him. Slowly, Bernie started to notice me. He looked at me sometimes. He said thank you. His voice was quiet. His voice was broken. One day, Bernie said I smelled nice. He said I smelled like Jolene. I wore Jolene's perfume. I started wearing it after she died. I did not know why. Maybe I wanted to keep her close. Maybe I wanted Bernie to feel close to her. Bernie also said my voice was soft, like Jolene's voice. I did not know what to say. We were sisters. Of course we sounded similar. Bernie started to need me. He waited for me to come. He ate when I cooked. He talked when I listened. He held my hand sometimes. He held it tight, like he was afraid I would leave too. I stayed. I always stayed. This was my promise. This was my duty. Bernie needed me now. He needed someone. He needed something that reminded him of Jolene. I became that something. I became the person he held on to, the person who kept him alive, the person who helped him survive his pain. And I accepted it because I loved him, because I promised Jolene, because I had no other choice. Part 4. 5 years passed. Bernie and I got married. It happened slowly. He needed me. I was always there. One day he asked me to marry him. I said yes. We lived in his house, the house next to my parents' house, the house where Jolene used to visit, where they sat on the porch together. Now I sat there with Bernie. Our life was quiet. Our life was peaceful. Bernie went to work again. I took care of the house. We ate dinner together. We talked. We watched television. We went to bed. But Jolene was always there. She was not there in body, but she was there in everything else. She was a ghost in our house, a ghost in our marriage, a ghost in Bernie's heart. I wore the colors Jolene liked: yellow, white, light blue. I did not wear these colors before. I wore brown. I wore gray. But now I wore Jolene's colors. Bernie smiled when he saw them, so I kept wearing them. I cooked the food Jolene liked: pasta with cheese, chicken soup, apple pie. Bernie loved these meals. His face looked happy when he ate, so I cooked them again and again. I kept my hair long, like Jolene's hair. I wore Jolene's perfume. I learned Jolene's favorite songs. I sang them sometimes. Bernie closed his eyes when I sang. He looked peaceful. I realized something. I was living Jolene's life. I was wearing her colors. I was cooking her food. I was being her. This was not my life. This was hers. But Jolene was dead. She could not live this life, so I lived it for her. I became her. I took her place. Sometimes I looked in the mirror. I saw myself. But I also saw her. We looked similar. We were sisters. Same eyes, same nose, same smile. But I was not her. I was Fidelia. I was different. Bernie looked at me every day. He smiled at me. He held my hand. He kissed me. But I always wondered, did he see me? Or did he see Jolene? Did Bernie love me? Did he love Fidelia? Or did he love the person who reminded him of Jolene? Was I his wife? Or was I just a replacement? A copy of the woman he really loved? These questions hurt. They hurt every day. They hurt every night. I asked them in my head, but I never asked them out loud. I was afraid of the answer. Sometimes Bernie said my name in his sleep, but sometimes he said Jolene's name. Sometimes he called me Jolene by mistake. Then he said sorry. He looked embarrassed. I said it was okay, but it was not okay. I loved Bernie. I loved him for many years. Since we were young, I finally had him. We were married. We lived together. But did I really have him? Or did Jolene still have him? Even from her grave? I thought about these things a lot. At night when Bernie slept, in the morning when I made breakfast, in the afternoon when I cleaned the house, the questions never left me. But I made a choice. I decided to accept it. I decided to live with the doubt. I decided to keep being Jolene for Bernie, because Bernie was happy, because he smiled, because he was alive, because he was not broken anymore. Maybe Bernie loved me. Maybe he did not. Maybe he loved both of us. Maybe he loved the memory of her and the presence of me. I did not know. I would never know. But it did not matter. I kept my promise to Jolene. I took care of Bernie. I made him happy. I stayed by his side. This was enough. This had to be enough. I sacrificed my own identity. I sacrificed my own dreams. I became someone else. I did this for love, for duty, for my sister, for the man I loved. This was my life now. This was my marriage, and I accepted it. One Saturday, I decided to clean the attic. Our attic was full of old things, old boxes, old furniture, old memories. I wanted to organize everything. I wanted to make space. I climbed the stairs. The attic was dark. It was dusty. I opened the small window. Light came inside. I saw boxes everywhere. Some were mine, some were Jolene's. I opened Jolene's boxes one by one. I found her old clothes, her old shoes, her old books. Each thing made me sad. Each thing reminded me of her. Then I found a small box in the corner. It was hidden under a blanket. I pulled it out. I opened it. Inside was a book, a diary. The cover had dried flowers on it. Roses, white roses. I knew this diary. Jolene always wrote in it. She wrote in it every night. I never read it before. It was private. It was hers. But Jolene was gone now. She would not mind, would she? I sat down on the floor. I opened the diary. The pages were yellow. The ink was faded, but I could read the words. Jolene's handwriting, small and neat. I read the first pages. They were about school, about friends, about normal things. Then I found pages about Bernie, many pages about Bernie, how much she loved him, how happy he made her, how afraid she was to lose him. I kept reading. I reached the last entries, the entries from her final year, the year before she died. My hands started to shake. One entry was different, very different. It was dated 6 months before her death. I read it slowly. Each word cut me like a knife. I saw something today, something that scared me. Bernie looked at Fidelia. He looked at her for a long time, too long. He smiled at her, a real smile, not a polite smile, a warm smile, the smile he gives me. I stopped breathing. I read the next lines. I am afraid. I am so afraid. What if Bernie loves Fidelia? What if he sees her the way he sees me? She is my sister. She is kind. She is gentle. She is always there. What if he wants her instead of me? My heart beat fast. Very fast. I read more. I cannot let this happen. I cannot let them love each other after I am gone. I need to do something. I need to make sure Bernie remembers me. Only me. Forever. The next entry made me sick, made me cold, made me want to scream. I have a plan. I will ask Fidelia to take care of Bernie. I will make it sound like a dying wish, a final request from a sick sister. She will say yes. She always says yes. She cannot refuse me. I read the final lines, the most painful lines. If I make it a duty, Fidelia will never feel free. She will take care of Bernie because she promised me, not because she loves him. She will always feel guilty. She will always feel it is a responsibility, a burden, not a choice, not love. And Bernie will see me in her every day, every moment. He will remember me every time he looks at her. I will never be replaced, never forgotten. They will both be mine, forever. I dropped the diary. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. I could not breathe. I could not think. Jolene knew. She knew I loved Bernie. She knew Bernie might love me too. And she destroyed it. She destroyed everything. The request was not kindness. It was not love. It was jealousy. It was control. It was a trap, a chain, a prison, for both of us. Jolene was afraid of being replaced, afraid of being forgotten, so she used me. She used my love. She used my loyalty. She turned my feelings into a duty, into a burden, into something painful. She made sure I could never have Bernie truly, never have him freely, never have him as myself, only as her shadow, her replacement, her ghost. I sat in the attic for hours. The sun moved across the sky. The light changed. But I did not move. I held the diary in my hands. I read the words again and again. My sister, my beautiful sister, the sister I loved, the sister I sacrificed everything for. She was selfish. She was cruel. She trapped me in a life that was never mine, and I fell right into her trap. I did exactly what she wanted. I became her. I took care of Bernie. I made him remember her. Every single day. Jolene won. Even in death, she won. I went home that night. I carried the diary with me. I hid it in my bag. Bernie did not see it. Dinner was quiet. I cooked pasta. Bernie ate. He said it was good. He smiled. I said nothing. I could not speak. My throat was closed. After dinner, Bernie watched television. I washed the dishes. My hands moved, but my mind was far away. I thought about Jolene. I thought about the diary. I thought about the truth. We went to bed. Bernie fell asleep quickly. He always fell asleep quickly. He looked peaceful. He looked happy. I watched him in the dark. I thought about our marriage. 5 years together. 5 years of living Jolene's life. 5 years of being her replacement. And now I knew the truth. It was all a plan, a trap, a cruel trick from a dying sister. Jolene was jealous. She was afraid. She saw something between Bernie and me, something real, something that could grow. So she killed it. She killed it before it could live. She asked me to take care of Bernie. She made it a promise, a duty. She knew I would say yes. She knew I could never refuse. And she knew it would destroy any chance of real love between us. I wanted to scream. I wanted to wake Bernie up. I wanted to show him the diary. I wanted to ask him the truth. Did he look at me that day? Did he see me? Did he feel something for me before Jolene died? But I stopped myself. I could not ask. Because if Bernie knew the truth, his world would break again. He loved Jolene. He still loved her. If he learned she was jealous and selfish, it would destroy him. It would destroy the memory he had of her. And what good would it do? We were already married. 5 years had passed. We built a life together. Even if it was built on lies, even if it was built on Jolene's plan, I made a decision that night. I decided to keep the secret. I would never tell Bernie. I would never tell anyone. The next morning, I woke up early. Bernie was still sleeping. I took the diary pages, the pages with Jolene's confession. I went to the kitchen. I burned them in the sink. I watched them turn to ash. Then I washed the ash away. The diary went back in the attic. Without those pages, without the truth, it was just a normal diary now, full of normal thoughts, full of love and fear, but not the ugly truth. I continued my life with Bernie. I cooked his meals. I wore the colors he liked. I smiled when he smiled, but something changed inside me. A crack formed in my heart, a crack that would never heal. Every time Bernie kissed me, I wondered, are you kissing me? Or are you kissing her memory? Every time he held me, I asked, do you see me? Or do you see her? I would never know the answer. I chose not to know. I chose silence. I chose to protect Bernie's happiness. I chose to let Jolene keep one small corner of Bernie's heart, a corner I could never touch, a corner that belonged to her forever. This was my final sacrifice. My last gift to my sister. I gave her this. I let her win. Even though she hurt me, even though she trapped me, I kept her secret, and I kept living her life. This was my choice. This was my fate. Thank you for letting this story stay with you for a moment. If one line made you feel understood, please give it a like. You can share this video with anyone who loves calm stories and simple English.